The following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter number 7, text number 30, given by His Grace Sriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari, recorded on September 18th, 2008, in Sofia, Bulgaria.
So today, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, chapter number 7, text number 30. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yagyashacha Vitanani Yogashacha Pataprabho Naiskarmyasya cha Sankyasya Tantram va Bhagavat Smritam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Please also describe the expansions of different sacrifices and the paths of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations. Purport. The word tantram is significant herein. Sometimes tantram is misunderstood to be black spiritual science of materialistic persons engaged in sense gratification. But here tantra means the science of devotional service compiled by Narad Muni. One can take advantage of such regulative explanations of the path of devotional service and make progressive advancement in the devotional service of the Lord. Sankhya philosophy is the basic principle of acquiring knowledge, as will be explained by the sage Maitreya. The Sankhya philosophy enunciated by Kapila Dev, the son of Devahuti, is the real source of knowledge about the supreme truth. Knowledge not based on the Sankhya philosophy is mental speculation and can yield no tangible profit. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajiva Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. So, what is the prime necessity of this human life? The average person would say, make money as much as possible. So you can enjoy nice sense gratification.
така че да може да се наслаждавате на добро сетивно наслаждение.
And you can secure nice sense gratification for your children and grandchildren.
И да осигурите добро сетивно наслаждение за вашите деца и внуци.
By hook or by crook.
С по всякакъв начин.
Somehow or other beg, borrow or steal, but get money as much as possible.
Дори и чрез кражба, но да вземем колкото се може повече пари.
That's what people consider the most important thing.
Това е което хората смятат за най-важното.
So, what will they get from doing that?
И какво ще получат, когато правят това?
They may get some money.
Те могат да вземат малко пари.
How long will that money last?
Но колко ще продължат, ще трябват тези пари.
Money comes and money goes.
Парите идват и си отиват.
During the Civil War in the USA, the southern states, they declared independence from the United States.
По време на войната за независимост на САЩ, южните щати са обявили независимост.
They fought a war to get independence from the U.S.
Те водили война, за да са независими от САЩ.
I think there was around 13 states they fought to get independence.
Това са били около 13 щати.
They started their own country. They called it the Confederate States of America.
Те основали своя страна, наречена Конфедеративни Съединени щати.
And they issued their own currency, their own, Confederate currency.
Издавали своя валута, конфедеративна валута.
And so if you were wealthy, if you had a lot of Confederate currency, you see.
И ако сте били богат, ще имате много тази валута.
But when the Confederacy lost the war and had to merge back into the United States,
Но когато конфедерацията загубила войната и отново се слява с Съединените щати,
they were using that money as wallpaper.
те използвали тези пари за тапети.
In other words, it became totally valueless.
Стане напълно без стойност.
So whatever money we have in this world, ultimately it's valueless.
Така че каквито и пари да имаме в този свят, те са без стойност.
When you're hungry, can you eat money?
Когато сте гладни, можете ли да ядете пари?
Of course, if you were cold in the winter, you could burn a bunch of it and get a little warmth out of it.
Разбира се, през зимата може да изгорите малко от тях, за да се стоплите.
You see. But, it wouldn't last very long. Wood would burn much better than paper money.
По-добре да използвате дърва за тази цел.
So what value does money really have, you see?
И каква стойност имат наистина парите?
The real thing is tangible goods, food, you see, cows, land. That's tangible value.
Истинска стойност имат кравите, земята и другите.
Jewels,
Бижутата.
you see. Something that actually has value, you see. The money itself has no value.
Нещо, което само по себе си има стойност, а парите сами по себе си нямат стойност.
And yet people are so greedy for money.
Но хората са толкова алчни за пари.
It means we don't really understand what has value.
Това означава, че ние всъщност не разбираме какво има стойност наистина.
We don't know what brings happiness.
Не знаеме какво ще ни донесе щастие.
We think if I can have a lot of money, then I'll be happy.
Мисля, че ако имаме много пари, ще бъдем много щастливи.
But actually we see the more wealthy people become, the more they become miserable.
Но виждаме, че колкото по-богати стават хората, толкова по-нещастни стават.
Because they have a false sense of happiness based on the acquiring of material goods.
Защото имат фалшиво чувство за щастие, основано на материалните принадлежности,
Which can be taken away at any minute.
които могат да им бъдат отнети всеки момент.
This is why the Brahmins, they voluntarily accepted poverty. You see.
Затова браманите доброволно са приели бедност.
Because then there's no anxiety.
Да нямат тревоги.
It's like in the old days, there were the big yagyas.
Както в старите времена имало огромни яги.
in the Treta Yuga.
в Трети юга.
Big, huge yajna.
Огромни яги,
So much ghee, so much gold, you see.
толкова много ги, злато.
And the Brahmins, they would be given all, the kings would give all wealth to the Brahmins.
И царят дал цялото богатство на браманите.
Huge quantity of gold they'd be given.
Огромно количество злато.
Then after the yajna, the Brahmin, he's going back to his home, you see.
И след ягията браманът се прибирал вкъщи.
And he has this huge load of gold.
И имал голям товар от злато.
And so they would just throw it like garbage on the side of the road and walk home without it.
И те го хвърляли по пътя и оставали без него.
So when Arjuna, he is known as Dhananjaya, you see.
И Арджуна е познат като Дананджая.
There was need for great wealth to perform the Rajasuya Yajna.
Трябвало много злато, за да се направи Раджасуя ягия.
So Krishna informed him where in previous yugas, all these yagas had been performed. So Arjuna went there and he gathered the gold that the Brahmins had thrown away, you see.
И Кришна го информирал така, че Арджуна събрал това злато, което браманите изхвърляли.
So what is the actual wealth of the Brahmins? If the Brahmins are throwing away gold, what is the actual wealth of the Brahmins?
И кое е действителното богатство на браманите, ако те изхвърлят златото?
They are rich in Vedic knowledge,
Те са богати в знанието за ведите.
and they are rich in the application of that knowledge. You see, bhakti.
Богати в приложението на това знание. Бхакти.
That is actual wealth.
Това е истинското богатство.
The more you become learned in the Vedic wisdom, and the more you become expert in applying the Vedic wisdom,
Колкото по-експертни ставате в познанието на ведите и в тяхното приложение,
then you are fabulously rich.
тогава сте невъобразимо богати.
And whatever you need, Krishna will give you.
И от това, от което се нуждаете, Кришна ще ви го даде.
Ananyas chintayanto mang yejana paryapasate tesham nityapayuktanam yogachemam vahamyaham. Krishna says that for those who worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, I preserve what they have and I carry what they like.
Кришна казва за тези, които ме обожават с голяма преданост, аз запазвам това, което те имат и им дам това, което не им достига.
In one lecture, Prabhupada translated it, Krishna personally delivers to your home whatever you need. Home delivery service, is it?
В една лекция Шрила Прабхупад каза, че Кришна лично доставя вкъщи това, от което се нуждаете.
In other words, if you're a pure devotee, exclusively absorbed in bhakti, and you're lacking something, and Krishna will personally bring it to the door, or ring the doorbell, and personally deliver it to the door, you see.
Това означава, че ако сте чист правилно даден и се нуждаете от нещо, Кришна лично ще дойде и ще ви го достави.
He's the FedEx, DHL man. See?
DHL, куриер.
Krishna will become the DHL delivery service for whatever you're lacking.
Кришна ще стане DHL куриер за всичко, от което ви липсва.
Who are these persons who get such service from Krishna?
Кои са тези личности, които са получили такова служение от Кришна?
Of course, devotees don't want Krishna to serve them. They want to serve Krishna.
Разбира се, правилните не искат Кришна да им служи, те искат да служат на Кришна.
But Krishna joyfully serves his devotees.
Но Кришна радостно служи на своите правилнодадени.
Which of these devotees does he serve?
Кои са тези правилнодадени?
Actually, he serves all of his devotees.
Всъщност той служи на всички свои правилнодадени.
But he serves them to the degree that they are surrendered to him.
Но той им служи до степента, в която те са се отдали на него.
So, how much mercy do you want from Krishna?
Така че колко милост искате от Кришна?
You want a little bit of mercy?
Искате малко милост?
You want a little bit more mercy?
Малко повече милост?
How about a little bit more mercy?
Или още малко повече милост?
Or would you like unlimited mercy?
Или искате неограничена милост?
Would you like the unlimited mercy of Krishna flowing upon you at every minute?
Искате ли неограничена милост да се спуска от Кришна във всеки момент?
Huh? Would you like that?
Искате ли?
then you must surrender fully, totally, wholly to Krishna with every thought, word, and deed in all times, places, and circumstances.
Тогава трябва напълно да се отдадете на Кришна с всяка мисъл и дело при всички обстоятелства.
As Lord Chaitanya prays, I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or leaves me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is free to do anything and everything with me because he is my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Както се моли Бог Чайтаня, аз нямам друг Бог, освен Кришна, и той ще остане такъв, независимо дали ме притиска в обятията си или скъсва сърцето ми, като не се е дал пред мен.
If Krishna wants to use me as his doormat, that's all right. You know, doormat where you wipe your shoes when you come in the house? Doormat.
Yes, ако Кришна иска да ме използва като изтривалка, то е окей.
Whatever position Krishna wants me to serve him, it's okay. I'm willing to do that.
Каквато и позиция Кришна да ми даде, да му служа, това е добре.
If he wants me to travel all over the world and preach, I'm willing to do that.
Ако иска да пътувам по целия свят да проповядам, аз ще го направя.
If he wants me to stay in one place and preach, I'm willing to do that.
Ако иска да седа на едно място и да проповядам, аз ще го направя.
If he wants me to worship the deities, I'm willing to do that.
Ако иска да обожавам мултите, аз ще го направя.
If he wants me just to wash the pots 24 hours a day, I'm willing to do that.
Ако иска да мия улиците 24 часа, аз ще го направя.
If he wants me to work a job and make money to support the temple, I'm willing to do that.
Ако иска да работя и да подкрепям с финансово, аз ще го направя.
Doesn't matter what Krishna wants.
Без значение какво иска Кришна.
I'm prepared to do anything and everything to please him. That is devotional service.
Без значение какво иска Кришна, аз съм готов да го направя, за да го удовлетворя.
Not how can God serve me.
А не как Бог може да ми служи на мен.
This is what the so-called religionists do these days, you see.
Това правят така начините религиозни хора.
They go to the church, the synagogue, the mosque, and the temple,
Те ходят в църквата, в синагогата и в...
and they open up their shopping list.
И отварят своя шопинг лист.
Dear Lord, this is what I need this week, you see.
Скъпи Господи, това е, което се нуждае тази седмица.
I've got a sore knee. I have a sore knee. You see, my knee is aching.
Моето коляно е възпалено.
I have some debts I have to pay off.
Имам дългове, които трябва да платя.
I have an enemy. I want him to drop dead.
Имам врагове, които искам да са мъртви.
I want a new car.
Искам нова кола.
I want to get a raise in my job.
Искам повишение в своята работа.
I want to have sex with that girl over there.
Искам да правя секс с това момичето.
You please answer all my prayers, Lord. See how gross, how disgusting it is? And in all the religions, they're motivated like this. Give me this, give me that, give me. And they're proud of being religious. Yes, I'm a great Christian. I go every week to the church and beg God to give me money. I'm a great Hindu, I'm a great Muslim, I'm a great Jew. All this simply bogus nonsense. They have no bhakti. They're simply greedy for material goods, material sense gratification. So what Prabhupada is teaching is revolutionary. Where in the history of the world has pure bhakti been taught so scientifically and so thoroughly as Srila Prabhupada has done? Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent acharya in the history of the universe. You know, preeminent? That means the leading, number one.
Това означава, че Шрила Прабхупада е номер едно ачария в света.
There is no acharya who has done what Prabhupada has done.
Няма друг ачария, който е направил това, което Шрила Прабхупада е направил.
How much we are indebted to His divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Tri Dandi Go Swami Maharaj Prabhupada.
Колко много сме задължени на Шрила Прабхупада.
We should never doubt Prabhupada's teachings.
Никога не трябва да се усъмняваме в учението на Прабхупада.
Some so-called liberal thinkers within our movement, they are introducing this idea that we can doubt Prabhupada's teachings with our own intelligence.
Така наречените либерални мислители в нашето движение казват, че ние може да се усъмняваме в учението на Шрила Прабхупада.
This bogus philosophy must be very strongly defeated.
Тази глупава философия трябва да бъде победена.
Yasya deve para bhaktir tata deve tata guru tasyaite katita hyarata prakashante mahatmanaha. Shvetashvatara Upanishad states that only unto those who have unflinching faith in the words of the spiritual master and in the words of Krishna is the Vedic wisdom revealed.
Шватара Упанишад казва, че само за тези, които имат пълна вяра в учението в думите на Гуру и Кришна, само за тях ведическата мъдрост се разкрива.
If we do not put unflinching faith in the words of Srila Prabhupada, this movement will be finished.
Ако нямаме пълна вяра в думите на Шрила Прабхупада, това движение е свършено.
If I think I know something better than Srila Prabhupada knows it, then I am fool rascal number one.
Ако си мисля, че аз знам по-добре нещо от Шрила Прабхупада, тогава съм разбойник номер едно.
We should always understand Srila Prabhupada was sent from the spiritual world to write these books.
Ние трябва да разберем, че Шрила Прабхупада е изпратен от духовния свят да напише тези.
They are not ordinary books of some philosopher giving his opinions.
Това не са някакви обикновени книги на някакъв философ, който дава своето мнение.
They are direct revelations of Krishna, from Krishna within the heart of Srila Prabhupada. He is simply giving us the words of Krishna in his purports.
Това са директно откровение на Кришна, който го дава в сърцето на Шрила Прабхупада.
We should never think, well, Prabhupada has his opinion and I have my opinion.
Никой не трябва да си мисли, Прабхупада има свое мнение и аз имам свое мнение.
We are conditioned souls.
Ние сме обособени души.
We are subject to 4 defects.
Ние ставаме от 4 дефекта.
We have imperfect senses.
Имаме несъвършени сетива.
We have the tendency to be illusion.
Имаме тенденция да сме в илюзия.
We make mistakes.
Правиме грешки.
And in spite of that, we're very proud, thinking I am great, and that is called cheating.
И въпреки това, имаме тенденция да си мислиме, че сме много велики. Това се нарича мамени.
As long as we remain subject to these 4 defects, we have to understand we are not perfect in knowledge.
Когато имаме тези 4 недостатъка, трябва да разберем, че не сме съвършени в знанието.
We require to hear from someone who is perfect in knowledge.
Трябва да чуем от някой, който е съвършен в своето знание.
That person who is perfect in knowledge is His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
И този човек, който е съвършен в знанието, е Шрила Прабхупада.
So we have to hear from Prabhupada.
Така че трябва да чуем от Прабхупада.
We have to base our understanding of what is true and what is not true on the instructions, the statements of Srila Prabhupada.
Трябва да основем своето разбиране за това, кое е вярно и кое не е, върху това, което Шрила Прабхупада казва.
You may say, well, what's the advantage?
Може да попитате
He seems so strict sometimes.
какво е предимството. Той изглежда толкова стриктен понякога.
But I guarantee you this, if you will strictly follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings,
Но аз ви гарантирам, че ако стигна следвате учението на Шрила Прабхупада,
you will live a life which is completely free from anxiety.
ще водите живот напълно освободен от тревоги.
and you will qualify yourself to go back to home, back to God at the time of death. So I can ask now if there's any questions. Narada Muni.
Мислене е било подобно на браманите в ведически времена. Хипитите не са искали богатство, не са искали пари, не са искали нищо. Напускали се домовете си, искали са нещо друго. И всъщност това е помогнало на Шрила Прабхупада по този начин Кришна да експандира. Сега обаче света е друг цикъл. Цикълът на динамичното компютъризиране и правене на пари. И затова правилно ли разсъждавам на нас, като че ли ни е по-трудно или не ни е по-трудно, не мога да разбера. Да привличаме хора, които искат просто да бъдат като тези брамани.
When Srila Prabhupada went to America, it was the time of the hippies, and they were renunciate. They don't want money, they don't want wealth. But now the times are different. People are more materialistic. They want money. They want wealth. And is it that now we are in a more difficult situation?
So what's the question?
Какъв е по-конкретно въпрос?
Въпросът е да ни разкаже нещо за времето, когато Шрила Прабхупада и за настроението на хората, които са били неговите първи ученици. Тяхното настроение, защото знам, че много хипита, много хора са се присъединили директно веднага.
Would you tell us something about the times of Srila Prabhupada when he began his movement of the mood of the hippies when they joined the movement?
It was actually quite easy to join in those days. We were already, the hippies were living in many ways very renounced already. It's like many hippies, they were living as, already they were, you could say living like mendicants. They had no place of residence, they had no job. They just depended on God for their maintenance. They were, in terms of, they had no money, they had no residence, they had no material facilities, they just had faith in that God would take care of them. So when Prabhupada had offered them, a place to live where they could actually have a guaranteed place to sleep every night, that was a big thing. Oh, here's a place where I can actually sleep every night. I don't have to sleep in the bushes at night. Many hippies, they lived very renounced. They had no vehicle, they had no car, they had no money. They had no place of residence. They would sleep maybe in someone's house one night, in the bushes the next night, So to have a place where they could actually move in and have a guaranteed place to sleep every night, that was a big thing for them. I mean, a guaranteed breakfast every morning. Many of the hippies lived, they didn't know how they would eat every day, just whatever God would provide, they would somehow eat here and there, but they can move into the temple and they would get a meal every day. And 2 or 3 meals every day, a place to sleep every night.
Шрила Прабхупада им даваше 3 пъти ядене на ден и място, където да спят.
It was easy to move into the temple if you had nowhere else to live.
Беше много лесно сежда в храма, при условие, че няма къде да живееш.
They had given up the home of their wealthy parents to live on the streets.
Те се отказаха от момента на своите богати.
They had voluntarily become homeless people.
Те доброволно станаха бездомни.
Some would live in a tree house, some would live in the forest under a tree.
Някои са живели в гората по дърветата.
Just like Tamal Krishna Goswami and Vishnujan, they were living at Morning Star Ranch. It was a hippie commune. They were living out under the trees.
Tamal Krishna Goswami и Vishnujan, които са живели в хипи комуна.
So when you have no money and you have not even a place to live, it was not that difficult to move into a temple.
И когато нямаш пари, нямаш място, където да живееш, не е въобще трудно да не седиш в храма.
Yes?
If they are so renounced, then why would they look for the breakfast and place of residence?
They were so renounced, and why do they need?
Yeah, why they were looking for that? Why would they want to move into the temple for that reason?
The point is,
He needs to translate.
it was from both sides. I mean, even materially speaking, there was some advantages.
He needs to translate.
Yeah.
Въпроса на Матаджи Вишнуприя беше, след като са били толкова отречени, защо е трябвало да не са в храма поради храната, поради тази причина.
Of course, the teachings were very amazing. Chanting of Hare Krishna. The hippies were looking for some way that you could stay high forever and never come down, you see.
Хипитата са търсили начин, по който винаги да са високо.
They were experimenting with psychedelic drugs, trying to find some drug that could get you high and you would never come down.
Те експериментирали с такива наркотици, за да намерят такъв, който да ги държи постоянно високо.
But they couldn't find such a drug because there is no such drug.
Но не са могли да намерят, защото просто няма такъв наркотик.
But then Prabhupada gave them the ultimate drug. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Но Прабхупад им даде върховния наркотик, Харе Кришна Махамантра.
He gave them a safe place to live where they could wouldn't have to live on the streets at night. They'd live in a house.
Той им даде безопасно място, където да живеят.
Huh?
They did not join for the house. There were no houses there. They were living in any places like that. They were so austere.
No, the early days they would rent some place and live in it. They had places to live. They had buildings. Just like in Dallas, they got a little duplex on Mission Street. And all the hippies moved, they had 22nd Avenue. They were living in the storefront at night, Prabhu. They were living in the storefront, you know that? Yeah, they had a place, a building where they could sleep at night. It was practical also.
Those buildings were not so opulent as nowadays the devotees expect.
The point is, nowadays we demand, I have to have this, but they were living on the street. They had no place to even sleep at night. And now at least, they were sleeping in the bushes. And now at least they had a building they could sleep in. They had to worry about somebody jumping on in the middle of the night. They could lock the door. It's practical.
Някои от хипитата са живеели под наем някъде, но други нямало къде да живеят.
It was practical. I mean, you get a meal.
But they have renounced those things from their
You still have to eat.
Yeah, but they still renounced it.
You can say I'm renounced, but your belly is growling. You still have to eat.
Yeah, no, they have to eat. But the thing is that it was not an opulent prasadam like.
They didn't need opulent prasadam because before that they didn't know where their next meal would come from.
Nowadays, the opulent prasadam is there. Still, they don't want it.
That's right, because people aren't in that renounced mood now. That's his point.
Дори когато си отречен, ти пак трябва да ядеш, защото стомахът се обажда. И тогава не са имали богат прасадам, както има днес. Но тогава те са били в такова настроение на отречение, което днес го няма.
The hippies came from wealthy, middle and upper class families in the U.S. in the beginning. And they didn't want to be controlled by their parents anymore, who were training them to be a certain type of materialistic person. They didn't want it.
Хипите са произхождали от тази висшата и от средната класа в Америка и те не си искали да бъдат зависими от техните родители.
Just like Bob Dylan sang in that song, he said, "Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, your sons and your daughters are beyond your command."
Както бе Боб Дилан своята песен, майки и бащи, вашите дъщери и синове са извън вашия контрол.
They did not want to be controlled by their parents.
Те не си искали да бъдат под контрол на своите родители.
That's why even the parents would try to control them by money. Well, we'll fund your college expenses for you, but you have to do what we say, you see.
И родителите се опитвали да ги контролират по всякакъв начин, включително като им дават пари за колеж.
So they said, I don't want your money.
Те си казват, аз не се нуждам от твоите пари.
I want the freedom to pursue my own life, you see, without being manipulated by your materialistic culture.
Искам свободата да не бъда манипулиран от твоята материалистична култура.
So they were willing to take all austerities just to have that freedom of not being manipulated by the older generation in the U.S.
И те са били готови да поемат всички тези отречения само и само да не бъдат манипулирани от по-възрастните.
And it became a huge phenomenon all over the U.S. and it spread all over the whole world. All these young people rejected the authority of their parents and their parents' generation to look for something new, something different that could actually bring happiness to the world.
И това е станало един огромен феномен в Америка и след това в целия свят на много хиляди млади хора, които са искали да бъдат свободни.
But on their own, they couldn't do it. They needed somebody to tell them who, and that was Prabhupada.
Но сами не са могли да бъдат свободни. Те са се нуждали от някой, който да им каже.
Prabhupada said the hippies are our best customers.
Прабхупада каза, хипите са нашите най-добри клиенти.
Aren't the people are like hippies now?
Huh?
Still,
No.
they are still hippies, free of
No.
responsibilities.
No. In the 60s, nobody was interested in computer science or in the hip people, type people. They weren't interested in computer science or in business. They were in getting an MBA. They just wanted to study liberal arts, philosophy and these things and that. Those things became very popular in the universities back in the 60s. Now everybody wants to go into business and computers. They want to go where the money is, you see.
Сега всички искат да учат бизнес и компютър, искат да имат много пари, а тогава 60-те са били модерни всички тези свободни изкуства.
The hippies renounced the wealth of their parents for the sake of freedom of ideas, freedom of lifestyle.
Хипитата са отказали от богатство на своите родители в името на свободата.
They voluntarily accepted poverty
Те доброволно са приели бедност.
just so they could have the freedom of expression, the freedom of ideas.
Само и само да имат свобода на идеите, на изразяването.
I know, that was me also, I was one of them.
Аз също бях един от тях.
I gave up everything just so I could write songs that expressed what I wanted to express without anyone controlling me or dictating to me.
Аз се отказах от всичко, за да мога да пиша песни, които да изразя свободно това, което мисля, без някой да ме манипулира.
I simply had a guitar and a few possessions and that's it. And I just traveled all over the country by hitchhiking with no place to live and no money.
Аз имах само една китара и нямах пари и пътувах по цялата страна.
Whatever food would come, I would eat, and if there was no food, I would just go without it.
Ако имаше храна, аз ядях, ако нямаше, аз бях без.
I had no money to buy any food.
Нямах пари за храна.
In this way, wherever I could sleep, I would sleep in a cornfield. Wherever I could sleep, I would sleep. Wherever food would come, I would take. Otherwise, I would go without. But I would continue writing my songs and singing wherever I went.
Където можех, спях дори на полето. Ако можех, ядях. Но винаги продължавах да пиша своите песни.
I was looking for a message that could, a pure message, a powerful message that could bring the world out of its chaotic condition.
Търсих истинско послание, което да изведе света от това хаотично състояние.
And I wrote 300 songs trying to find the message, but I couldn't do it.
Аз написах 300 песни, опитвайки се да...
Because I was a conditioned soul.
Посланието не
Was
успях.
that the mission of all the hippies?
Huh?
Was that the mission of all the hippies?
Many hippies had that sort of a mood.
И много хипите имаха това настроение.
And they joined Prabhupada.
Те се присъединиха към Прабхупад.
Many hippies had similar ideals. I wasn't the only one.
Много хипите имаха
I
подобни.
was looking for bringing an ideal society to this planet.
Аз търсих да построя идеалното общество.
The hippie mood is still there. They may be doing it in a different way, but the hippie mood is still there in the people. They are giving up, but they cannot give up the illicit sex and the sense gratification. They are there.
That renounced mood of giving up wealth, that we don't see.
Това
There are a
настроение
lot of
на
people hanging around everywhere.
The derelicts on the side of the street, they are just out and out derelicts. They're just trying to drown themselves in tamagun. They are not in that mood.
I'm not thinking about the derelicts, but there are so many other people that are hanging around, not working jobs, or they just getting something to eat.
Yeah,
don't
they still have the latter day. Yeah, there are still people who try to be in that mood. They're still around, that's true, but it's not the predominant, big, huge movement that it was. That's the thing.
At that time there was a pressure about going to war.
The Vietnam War actually helped to stimulate the whole thing. That's the thing.
Вьетнамската война стимулира това нещо.
There's no doubt that they wanted to. They used to have a song. The hippies wrote a song called "Be the first one on your block to have your boy sent home in a box, a coffin." You know. They were shipping off hundreds and thousands of young men to fight in Vietnam. They drafted me also.
Мусулмани хората били
They
изпращани
sent me a little letter in the mail. It's time to report in for duty.
и изпращаха малка бележка във време да изпълните своите задължения.
And I went down there and I told him I wasn't going to. I basically told him I wasn't going to cooperate with him and I'll forget it.
Аз съм казал да забравят.
I took a very bold position. I went down there and made very strong words against their military regime, pounding my fist on the desk.
Аз много така твърдо говорих за техния милитаристичен режим, удряйки си много върху масата.
And they let me out. I got out of it.
И те ме пуснаха.
I didn't have to go. But if you're a little meek and submissive, they take you and send you off and you get killed in Vietnam. But I was very solid, slamming my fist and yelling in the sergeant's face.
Ако си по-слаб, по-смирен, ще те вземат в армията, но аз бях много твърд.
I won't repeat what I said to him. But I spoke some very strong words against the army,
И аз говорих много
looking him straight in the eyes and pounding my fist. And I beat the military. I didn't have to go. I beat the draft. All the other boys were sent off. Most of the boys ended up going, but I was more determined not to go than most of the boys.
И повечето от момчетата заминаха, но аз бях по-решен от тях да не замина.
They didn't get me.
И не взех.
Yeah.
В тази връзка само искам нещо може би, да се изясни, поне за мен. Това, което се е случило с хипитата, дали това е божествен аранжимент, за да стартира Кришна съзнание, или това е нормален резултат от прекалено усетивно наслаждение на тая преслойка или на богатите, които вече търсят тапася, отречение, нещо друго, нещо различно.
Да. Rupa Manohara, the question is was this Krishna's arrangement, this whole hippie movement, or is this something?
Danavir Maharaj asked Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said yes.
Danavir Maharaj попита за това.
He said that was Krishna's arrangement to help me get my movement started.
И Прабхупад каза, да, това беше аршибет на Кришна да ви помогне да основа движението.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Krishna's arrangement, yeah.
If in those days hippies were the best customers of Hare Krishna movement, now who are the best customers now?
We have to find them.
Трябва да ги намерим.
Right now I can say that you all are the best customers.
Толкова аз бих казал, че вие сте
Now you have to go out and get more customers.
сега трябва да доведете още клиенти.
Wherever you can find them.
Къде ще ги намерите?
We have to see now in 2008 who are the best customers.
Трябва да потърсим най-добрите клиенти. Сега да
Be very aggressive and look for them, you see, where we can find them.
агресивно да ги търсите.
I'm convinced that we can have a second wave of a huge growth of this movement.
Аз съм убеден, че може да имаме втора вълна на движението.
Just like in the ocean, one wave comes in,
Както в океана една вълна идва
there's a lull and another wave comes in.
и след това идва друга вълна.
We've gone through the lull, now it's time for the second wave.
Сега е време за втората вълна.
I'm convinced that we can have a huge growth of this movement.
Аз съм убеден, че може да имаме огромно разрастване на движението.
Of course, there's actually huge growth going on. Look at, there's so much huge growth even since Prabhupada left. Look what's happening in Russia. It's just huge growth is already there. But I'm thinking especially in places like America, we're so influential. There, all our growth has been the Hindu population has gotten more connected with our movement.
Разбира се, и сега имаме растеж, особено в Русия и в Америка също, където тези индийците са много така се присъединяват към движението.
But the devotees in North America have to always remember that, our mission in America is not just to have more and more Hindus joining our movement and make it like a Hindu, organization. Our mission in America is to make the American people Krishna conscious.
Но в преводите в Северна Америка трябва да знаят, че нашата мисия не е да привличаме само хинду в нашето движение и да направим по този начин хинду организация, а да привлечеме американци.
The Hindu people are our great allies in this struggle.
Индийците са наши съюзници в тази борба.
And many of them become very, very good devotees, also initiated devotees.
И много от тях стават много добри православни, посветени православни.
But in America, we have to stay focused on making the Native American people Krishna conscious.
В Америка трябва да се фокусираме да направим американците Кришна съзнати.
So I think we've gone way over time today. All right, one more.
Once Prabhupada saw one church, Catholic church, and he said that in future our movement will also resemble the Catholic movement because we will have one temple and not so many people in temple, but big congregation. So was this the plan now we see, because we see that temples nowadays in America and these Western countries are...
Well, that's a big thing already happening, the Namahat programs and the Bhakta Vriksha program. That's already happening in big number. Just like in Atlanta, we have so many Indian people now who are taking up Krishna Bhakti in their home, and they come to the temple once a week. They have programs in their homes also, which are very well attended. So that's happening in many places now. We have the Namahat programs. The people make their homes into preaching centers. And And then they go to the temple once a week. So it's already happening.
На много места имаме много добре развита намаката програма. Хората отиват в храма и веднъж седмично правят програми по къщи, по домовете.
So, we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sankarshana Das Adhikari ki jai.